going on, guys? So today I'm doing a video on my controller settings. Someone had also asked me how to improve their aim on a controller, things like that. So I'm gonna go through my sensitivity, my field of view, and this isn't something to like copy down exactly, because your sensitivity might be a little faster or slower, whatever's more comfortable for you. It's kind of more so to help you find some settings that are comfortable for you. So I'm gonna go through what I kind of play with, give a little explanation, try to keep it short and sweet, and we'll go from there. So the first thing, I have all this set to on. For Xbox players, you can turn off crossplay like through the Xbox settings. Since I'm on the Series X, I get to play with PS5 and PC players, and I like the challenge. So I kind of just keep it on. Moving on to my field of view, I play in 95. I used to play in max field of view, but I kind of found it was a little hard to see targets at a distance, so I kind of lowered it. And this for me right now is very comfortable and I'm very used to it. My third person field of view is 65. My ADS field of view, I have this kind of set to off. A lot of players will tell you that having it on is beneficial because it kind of helps you laser people, which for the most part is pretty true. But being that the game has doesn't have much customization when it comes to opacity of objectives on your screen and stuff, it's kind of hard to see certain players for distance. So I kind of like the fact that when you aim in, it lets you zoom in a bit, so it kind of helps me focus in. So that's kind of why I have it off still. Brightness, I have it to 70. I don't like it too bright, too dark. 70 for me is fine. Motion blur gives me a little immersion, so I kind of keep it on. I guess you want better performance, things like that, you could turn it off. I'm fortunate enough to have a Series X, so honestly I don't really see many performance issues, at least for me. I know some people do have it, but the only issues I really come across are really server related. So for me, motion blur 50 is it's fine. I don't really get motion sickness or anything like that, so that it's it's comfortable for me. But for others, you can definitely play around with it. These settings I keep on. Again, some players will turn it off for better performance. All this I have on. I only turn it off, the HUD if I'm going for a thumbnail or something. Camera shake 70. It's an appropriate amount. It's comfortable for me. I like it. If you don't like camera shake, you can always, turn that off completely. Soldier compass always on for sure. You play with friends or other people, it's super important to have that on. It helps with call outs, things like that. Have all this on. I do have custom colors when it comes to squad colors, and just colors in general for teammates. So the squad colors are just always the basic green, a light blue for teammates, a deep red for enemies, and a white for neutral. Kill log I have it set to nearby. Sometimes it helps to know what's going on or what your teammates got killed by. Crosshair opacity, I have all this set to this. Thick, 100%, everything. My headshot colors and kill colors, I like things like this. I like having distinct colors because it lets me know what's going on. Headshot colors being like a somewhat a bright yellow, so I know alright, getting headshots here. Kill colors are deep red, so I know for sure they're down. Armor colors are being blue. These I think are just default, I never really change those. Minimap opacity I have it set to 80. I think it's inappropriate, I can see the map clearly. Off-foot distance 95. It shows me a little bit more than the default kind of view, but not too much, so it's a little hard to navigate with the map. So this one for me is comfortable. Again, you don't have to use exactly what I use. Sound settings, everything to 100. My sound configuration, the reason I have this set to auto is because my Xbox is actually plugged in with HDMI into my PC, into my Elgato, which then plugs in from another HDMI into my monitor. I don't really know the exact settings for it, so I kind of just have it to auto, and it sounds really good to me, and I can hear everything around me for the most part. I have all this such as headphones. So my controller actual settings. So with this, for the most part I play on foot controls and buttons. I kind of just default. The reason being I do have a custom controller, so I have back buttons. One of the back buttons is mapped to B, which is the prone, slide, crouch button. So for me, it's just, I don't know, I just never changed it. I could if I wanted to, but I don't really need to. If you are like a veteran Battlefield player, you are kind of used to this kind of setup. For me, I always ran this from like the years ago, like in, you know, I'm used to this like in Battlefield 3. So if I didn't have this custom controller, I probably would be using this, but you know, I have this, so, or default. Only thing different that I guess an alternate would be like my ground vehicles and then my aircrafts. So these, you know, to accelerate and, you know, the brake and reverse is all of these. The alternate with the aircrafts, gunner buttons are default. Yeah, these I have, you know, set to like the veteran kind of controls. All of this is normal except invert vertical look on aircrafts. So my sensitivity is a 75. For me, I kind of like to move around, you know, look around really fast because I play, you know, a very aggressive infantry kind of play style. So for me, it is important to be turning around. Honestly, I'm kind of getting used to it, so I might actually turn it up, but I have to get kind of used to it and play around with my soldier zoom aim sensitivity along with that to kind of figure out a good one. This default was like at 100, but since I raised this up from like the default 50, I had to play around, and I found 80 was really comfortable for me. It helps me kind of snap on the targets, you know, a lot simpler. It's comfortable for me. Like, this is definitely all something you can figure out like in the solo and co-op. Definitely take advantage of that, and play around with it and find a sensitivity that's really comfortable for you and is the most optimal for you and your playstyle. Auto deploy parachute, I have that off because sometimes I like to, but when the parachute decides to open, I like to open it really close to the ground. Air spawn auto parachute, yeah, because you never know, you might be too high up and then, you know, this game spawns. Sometimes you'll just, you know, you don't want to just die. Quick throw grenades, I had that off. I don't know, I kind of like to equip them and kind of, you know, take a look at what's going on before I toss one. Quick revive, I have that set to toggle. Skip revive, I have to hold. This kind of stuff, I for the most part, some people tinker with the coefficients, but you can definitely, you know, you yourself mess around the coefficients. Some people saying having 0 coefficient is really good. It just makes the aiming a little more fluid. I personally haven't explored too much with it. I think one day I definitely will take a deep dive into the coefficient, but I have to write down my settings so I don't mess anything like up. Vehicle aim sensitivity, I don't really play in too many vehicles other than like the, you know, the LATV, the Bull hovercraft. Sometimes I'm a gunner in certain vehicles, but for the main part, my sensitivity is not too high like a driver kind of position, but like my gunner ones, so like for the Bull or the LATV, the gunner sensitivity is a little higher because I like to look around, you know, snappy. But everything else is for the most part default, other than like vehicle weapons, you know, like to toggle it instead of holding it. Same with the gunner position. All of these are actually, these might be a little different, but I can't remember what I changed, honestly. It's been a while. So my dead zone, stuff like that, are the most part are default. Only thing I changed is like probably the max input threshold for my left trigger, just to make it, I guess, a little more responsive. But definitely tinker around with these, you know, find what's more comfortable for you. Basically how much it needs to be pulled to produce the max input, so play around with it, see fit. Off. Camera shaking mouse, 70, I went over that, but that's kind of like my settings so far. Someone had asked how to improve your aim and stuff like that. It's not like a simple answer. I guess, you know, definitely tinker out the settings and finding what's, you know, most comfortable and optimal for you is definitely extremely important. Another thing is figuring out like the main weapons you use, like what weapon you're most comfortable with, what weapon you know how to use the best. Understanding its recoil, where it excels, like in ranges, stuff like that. And in terms of like improving like your overall aim, like as a controller player, like I've been playing, you know, Battlefield for years, you know, like since like Bad Company 2. So and, like I played other FPS games too. It's like it kind of just over time your aim gets a lot better. Just kind of building that muscle memory to flick to targets and like that. The aim assist helps, you know, for sure. But in this game, there's like, it seems like there's not much aim assist compared to like older Battlefield games, so it might be a little harder. But honestly, I don't know. I kind of get used to things pretty quickly. Like I'm also very into fighting games, so like at one point like I stopped playing FPS games for like a couple years, and then when I went back to like, you know, Battlefield 4, in the beginning it was a little rough, like my first couple of games. Then I understood the pace of the game again after, you know, so many years, and then I was kind of just doing fine. But it's just like, it's definitely practice, you know. Don't be afraid to try different attachments, find what attachments work well for you, find a playstyle that suits you and you're comfortable, and, you know, most importantly, you're having fun doing it. And as time goes on, you'll just get better as a player, you know. It might not be like, you know, simple surefire way, you know, boom, change this setting and you're a god, you know. Sometimes things take a little bit of time. Not everyone like picks up on things right away, but I kind of do hope this video kind of helps that person. Maybe you can kind of figure out the settings, and then again, this isn't a video to copy my settings and then boom, you're just a good player. It's to kind of help you find your settings that works well for you and makes you a better player. But I'm just gonna wrap it up there. This video is a lot longer than I want it to be, but I do hope everyone has a good day. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I appreciate the support so far. We're almost at 100 subs. That really does mean a lot. And stay tuned for more videos coming on the way.